Letter 30. My dear Father, I know not how to write. I know not what to say. Dismay and sorrow fill my heart. I feel as if life were a burden too heavy to hear. They have crucified him. Verily fear and a snare are come upon us, desolation and destruction, O my Father. We know not which way to turn. He in whom we trusted has proved as one of us, weak and impotent, and has suffered death without power to save himself. He that saved others could not escape the death of the Roman cross. While I write, I hear the priest Abner in the court below mocking my uncle Amos in a loud voice. Your Messiah is dead, a famous great prophet surely you Nazarenes have chosen, born in a manger and crucified as a thief. Said I not that he could speak against the temple and the priesthood was of Beelzebub? Rabbi Amos makes no reply. Shame and despair seal his lips. Thus our enemies triumph over us, and we answer only with confusion of face. This unexpected, this unlooked-for, startling result has stupefied me, and not only me but all who have been so led by fascination as to trust in him. Even John, the beloved disciple, I hear now pacing the floor of the adjoining room, sobbing as if his noble heart would burst. Mary, my cousin's sweet voice, I catch from time to time trying to soothe him, although she is stricken like us all to the very earth. The unhappy John I hear despairingly answer her. Do not try to comfort me, Mary. There is no ground for hope more. He is dead, dead. All is lost. We who trusted in him have only to fly if we would save our wretched lives into Galilee and return once more to our nets. The sun, which shone so dazzlingly, has proved a phantom light and gone out in darkness. He whom I could not but love, I see that I love too well, since he proves not what I believed him to be. Oh, how could he be so like the Son of God and yet not be? Yet I loved and adored him as if he were the very Son of the Highest. But I have seen him die as a man. I have gazed on his lifeless body. I have beheld the deep wound made into his very heart by the Roman spear. I cast myself upon him when he was taken down from the cross and implored him, by his love for me, to give some sign that he was not holden by death. I placed my trembling hands over his heart. It was still, motionless as stone, like any other dead man's. He was dead, dead. With him die all our hopes, the hopes of Israel. He may live again, said Mary softly and hesitatingly, as if she herself had no such hope. He raised Lazarus, thou dost remember. Yes, for Jesus was living to do it, answered John, stopping in his walk. But how can the dead raise the dead? No, he will never move, speak, nor breathe again. But I will not further delay the account of his trial and condemnation, for you will be anxious to know how such a man could be condemned to a malefactor's death. In my last letter, I spoke of his arrest through the traitorous part enacted by Judas. Led by his captors, bound by the wrists with a cord, Jesus was taken from the dark groves of Olivet, where he had been found at prayer, and conducted with great noise into the city by Caesar's gate. It is near this archway that Rabbi Amos lives. I will copy for you my cousin Mary's account of it to Martha of Bethany, just written by her, instead of adding any more to my own. I went out upon the basilica which overlooked the streets, says Mary, and beheld a multitude advancing with torches flashing, and soon they came opposite the house, at least 200 men in number, half-clad and savage-looking, with fierce eyes and scowling looks. Here and there among them was a Levite urging them on, and I also beheld Abner the priest firing their passions by loud oratory and eager gesticulations. Behind rode 5 Roman horsemen, with leveled spears, guarding a young man who walked with a firm step. I burst into tears. It was Jesus. His locks were disheveled, his beard torn, his face marred, and his garments rent. He was pale and suffering, yet walked with a firm step. I burst into tears, and so did ADINA, who had come out to see what was passing. He looked up and said touchingly, "Mourn not for me." He would have said more, but the priest smote him rudely upon the mouth, and the crowd, following example, would have done him further insult but for the Roman soldiers, who turned their spears every way to guard him from violence, for they had rescued him from the terrible rage of the Jews by their centurion's orders, and were commanded to bring him safely before Pilate. So, thus guarded and escorted by the men who thirsted for his blood, he was led onward to the praetorium, where the Roman procurator resided. Gradually the whole multitude disappeared in the distance when silence, a dread and unearthly silence, succeeded. I turned and looked in ADINA's face. She was leaning, as colorless as marble, against one of the columns of the basilica. "What can all this mean?" she said with emotion. "Can it be possible he has suffered himself to be taken? He who could destroy or make alive with a word. What means this dreadful scene we have just witnessed?" I could not answer. All I knew was what my eyes just beheld, that Jesus, our prophet, our king, our Messiah, on whom all our hopes and the joy of Israel rested, was dragged a prisoner through the streets, helpless and without a helper. I trembled with I knew not what unknown forebodings. Suddenly ADINA cried, "He cannot be harmed. He cannot die. He is a mighty prophet and has power that will strike his enemies dead. Let us not fear. He has yielded himself only the more terribly to defeat and destroy his foes. We will not fear what Pilate or the priests will do. They cannot harm the anointed Shiloh of the Lord." While we were yet talking, dear Martha, a dark figure, passed stealthily along beneath the basilica and seemed to court the shadows of the house. At this moment my father, Rabbi Amos, opened the outer gate with a torch in his hand to follow, at our request, the crowd of people and see what should befall Jesus. The light glared full upon the tall, spare form of Peter, the Galilean fisherman. His dark, stern features wore an expression of earnest anxiety. "Is it thou, Peter?" exclaimed my father. "What is all this? Who has ordered the arrest of Jesus? What has he done?" "That hateful and envious man Caiaphas seeks to destroy him, and has bribed with large lures of gold the baser Jews to do this thing. Come with me, Rabbi, and let us die with him." And the Galilean pressed eagerly forward at a pace with which my father could not keep up. And this was an hour ago, and yet no news has come from the praetorium. But from time to time a dreadful shout from the hill on which the palace of Caiaphas stands breaks upon my ears, and the glare of unseen torches illumines the atmosphere high above the towers of the palace. It is a fearful night of agony and suspense. ADINA, in her painful uncertainty, but for my entreaties, would go forth alone towards the praetorium to hear and know all. I can keep myself calm only by writing to you. ADINA has also commenced a letter to her father, recording these sad things, but she drops her pen to start to the balcony at every sound. When will this fearful night end? What will the morrow reveal? It is an hour since I wrote the last line. The interval has been one of agony. Rumors have reached us that the priests insist on Pilate's passing sentence of death on the prophet. The cries, crucify him, have distinctly reached our ears. John is now here. About half an hour after Jesus passed, he reached our house nearly destitute of apparel, his clothing having been torn from off him by the Jews in their efforts to make him their prisoner also. He is calm and confiding, saying that his beloved master can never be injured by them, and that he will ere many hours deliver himself from his foes and proclaim himself King of Israel with power such as man never had before. May the God of Jacob defend him. John has just gone up to the temple to get news, in disguise of a priest wearing my father's robes. I have just seen a messenger passing in great haste along the street, and his horse falling cast him almost upon our threshold. It was the page of Emilius, the noble Roman knight, who is betrothed to my cousin ADINA. She hastened to his aid. He was but stunned, and soon was able to say that he bore a message from Lucia Metella, the fair and youthful bride of Pilate, urging him to have nothing to do with the prophet, but to give him his liberty, for she had just awakened from an impressive dream in which she saw him sitting on the throne of the universe, crowned with the stars of heaven, the earth a footstool beneath his feet, and all nations assembled and doing him homage. This report of the page has filled our hearts with joy and hope inexpressible. Confident that Jesus is the Son of God, we will not fear what man can do unto him. My father has returned. It is day. He says nothing can save Jesus but his own divine power. The Jews are in number many thousands and cry for his blood. Pilate has but a cohort of soldiers and fears to use force, lest the exasperated people break into open revolt and take the city from his hands, which they can with ease do if they will unite. He trembles, said my father, between fear to condemn the innocent and dread of the vengeance of the Jews if he let him go. Nothing can save the prophet but his own mighty miracle-working power. He who has saved others will surely save himself. While my father was speaking, a man rushed into our presence. He was low in stature, broad-chested, with a stiff reddish beard, narrow eyes, and sharp, unpleasant visage. His attire was ragged and mean, as was his whole aspect. He grasped in his right hand a small bag, which rung with coin as his shaking fingers held it. He trembled all over, and seizing my father by the arm with the quick, nervous grasp of a lunatic, cried hoarsely, "Will he let them? Will he? Will he?" "Will he what, Iscariot? Of whom do you speak? Art thou crazed? Thou shouldst well be after thy deed tonight. Will he let them kill him? Will he die? Will he die? Think you he will escape? He can if he will. Cords to him are ropes of sand." "No, no, he is bound hand and foot," answered my father sadly. "He makes no defense. I fear he will let them do as they will with him. He makes no effort to save his life." At this, Judas, for it was that wicked man, beat his knitted forehead in a frenzied manner with the bag of silver, and with a look of horrible despair rushed forth, crying as he went, "I will save him! The priests shall have their money again! He shall not die! If I had believed he would not do some miracle to escape them, I never would have sold him. I hoped to get their money and trusted if they bound him, for him to escape by his own power. I did not dream that he would not exert it to save himself. I will save the innocent man of God, for I, not thou alone, am guilty. Oh, if I had suspected this, but he shall not die." With these ravings, he disappeared towards the praetorium, leaving us all amazed at what we had heard. The sun is up. The fate of Jesus is sealed. The procurator has signed the sentence of death, and he is to be crucified today. But with Judas, I believe that he cannot die, and that he will signalize the hour by some wonderful miracle of personal deliverance. Thus, tremblingly, we hope and wait. Here terminates, my dear father, what my cousin has written to Martha and Lazarus. Your sorrowing but loving daughter, ADINA.